Hi, I'm Veronica Wasek, and I help Shopify sellers to set up, organize, and streamline their financial systems, whether you're looking for DIY, done with you, or done for you financials. In this video, I'll talk about what is Economic Nexus and what you should know as a Shopify seller. I get lots of questions from you in the comments about sales taxes and in particular Economic Nexus, and there's still a lot of confusion as to what it is. I know that sales taxes is a scary topic for a lot of Shopify sellers, and many of you have questions as to whether you're supposed to be registering to collect sales taxes and really whether you have Economic Nexus in other states. So I put this video together to explain to you what you should know as a Shopify seller about Economic Nexus. What is Nexus in the United States? Nexus, the fancy definition, is the level of connection between a taxing jurisdiction, such as a state, and an entity, such as a business, like you. The simple definition of nexus is whether you have met one of the requirements to collect sales taxes in a state or jurisdiction. There are two different types of nexus. Physical nexus, meaning that you have a physical presence in a state. There are other types of requirements, but in this video we're talking about economic nexus. Economic nexus refers to a seller being based in one state and selling into other states. When it comes to economic nexus rules, the rules are different for every state, and the rules change on a regular basis. As a Shopify seller, you have specific challenges. Shopify collects sales taxes only after you set it up. Shopify does not remit sales taxes for you, and Shopify sellers have the burden of keeping up with sales taxes. When it comes to economic nexus, each state has minimum thresholds, and you must meet the minimum thresholds to be subject to collecting sales taxes in a given state. The thresholds are based on transactions, and that refers to the total number of transactions. There's also monetary threshold, and that refers to the dollar amounts of the total sales made in a state. So how do you know what the state economic nexus thresholds are? The best source that I have found is from salestaxandmore.com. If you go to their website, look for the state tax charts and matrices, and then look for the economic nexus thresholds for sales tax. When you click on that link, it will download a PDF document for you that will list all of the states and everything that you need to know about economic nexus thresholds for each state. Let's take a look at the state of California. For the state of California, the monetary threshold is $500,000, and they don't have a transaction threshold. How do you know when you've met that $500,000 threshold? It's based on the previous calendar year or the sales made in the current calendar year. Let's take a look at the state of Alaska. The monetary threshold is $100,000, and they also have a transaction threshold of 200 transactions. So that means that if you have sales into the state of Alaska, you would either have total sales of $100,000 or 200 transactions before you would meet the economic nexus threshold. And in this case, you would have to start collecting sales taxes within 30 days of meeting the threshold. Again, to download the chart, go to Sales Tax and More, look up the state tax charts matrices, and then download the economic nexus thresholds for sales tax. I'll link that for you in the description. What if you're a new Shopify seller? Do you have economic nexus? You don't, and that's because you haven't made any sales into other states. Until you make sales in other states, and until you meet the thresholds in those states for economic nexus, you don't have to worry about registering to collect sales taxes until you have met the economic nexus rules in a given state. And here's an important tip. You should not register to collect sales taxes until you meet the economic nexus thresholds in a state. How do you know if you met the economic threshold? From Shopify, go to the settings icon and then select taxes and duties, and then select United States. You may then see something like this where it says Manage Tax Liability. And you'll see that it says based on your store's data in Shopify, you may need to start collecting taxes here. If you see that, then click Show All Liabilities. Then you'll see the states in which you may have economic nexus. In this particular case, we see Illinois and Georgia. And notice for the state of Illinois, total sales were $30,971 and the monetary threshold is $100,000. So based on the monetary threshold, economic nexus hasn't been met. However, for transaction threshold, this seller has had 671 transactions and the threshold for the state of Illinois is 200. Since they met the transaction threshold, then they have economic nexus in the state of Illinois. Another way to know whether you have nexus and to do a nexus analysis is to run the finances total sales report from Shopify for a desired date range. It's usually year to date or for the last year. And that will download a spreadsheet of all of your orders, and then you'll be able to sort your orders by state and jurisdiction. If you think that you met the economic nexus in a particular state, I highly recommend that you consult a professional service who specializes in sales taxes. Sales Tax and More is my go-to expert. They specialize in sales taxes for the US as well as Canada. And you also have Avalara. And keep in mind that for sales tax compliance, if you met the economic nexus, the next step is to register to collect sales taxes. And again, I highly recommend that you work with a professional service to do the registrations for you, just to make sure that you are in compliance with all of the rules. Once you register, then you collect sales taxes. So you would have to set those up in Shopify to collect sales taxes. And then once you collect sales taxes, then you remit the sales taxes to a state. Well, let me know in the comments if you liked my explanation of economic nexus, and let me know if you have other questions. I'm Veronica Wasek. If this content is helping you, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and give me a thumbs up. Are you ready to work with a trusted and reliable Shopify accounting pro? Then check the description below to learn more about my services and to see if we might be a good fit for working together. And check the description below also for all of my free resources, including my free Shopify bookkeeping blueprint and the link to join my Facebook community. I'll see you next time.